Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Leslie. I appreciate your call. Let's go quickly to John. Do you think that Canada should stop people from going over to fight?
Oh, no. I hope this catch on. This is a new type of war. And as a result of mercenaries of former military training experience and even combat experience are volunteers to go and fight terrorism or wherever evil exists around the world, that is good. It lets the government off the hook, and that will provide ground troops that we definitely need to win this war. And secretly, our governments around the world should support these mercenaries, support them with your support, and bomb and kill the hell out of ISIS. If it takes mercenaries to defeat these, how can I put it, demons, then so be it. This is a new type of war, and the terrorists are not fighting fear, and it's time for us to stop fighting fear too. And if these mercenaries are volunteers, willing to go over there and fight evil, then we should support them. We can do it secretly, and this will help us win. And I hope this catches us around the world and send a message to these evil people around the world that, the fight is not only against government. If people around the world are willing to volunteer and give up their life to go and fight evil, then we should support them.
Thanks, John. I appreciate your call. John says if you're fighting evil, we should be behind you. Well, here's the question. Who gets to define evil? Are some lives worth more than others? Is it okay to go over there and fight people we deem as bad, but not to go over there and fight people we think are good? We'll come back with your thoughts on that at 877-518-5151. Right now, though, it's 127.
You're listening to Mark Toohey on the Bill Talk Radio Network.
Hi.
Oh, my baptismal name is Clyde Darnell Lynch, all rights reserved without prejudice. I am Prince Clyde Darnell Lynch. Equality and fairness by contract is paramount, mandatory by law. Amen. Now look at the lobbyists, dysfunctionally programmed citizens, think they free thinkers. They need to start with their own government and let the government finish what they started over there. But if citizens feel that they need to go over there and do that, that's on you. But when you come back, when you think about it, you're going to say, I should have did that to my own government. I should got my troops together like I've been saying, rough, rugged, and raw. Civilian militia is backed up 100+% by the U.S. federal constitutions. That's the linchpin of our human rights and or et cetera, if it applies. And when I say if it applies, that means it does apply. But let these people call into these talk shows and keep on talking and yippity yapping about this and that. That's what I've been trying to do for over 10 years. Nobody taking me serious, and here these mercenaries. But the correct word, civilian militia. When you fight on American soil, not fight, but when you do what you have to do on American soil, going overseas and handling some overseas business, well, that's on you. You need to stay home and handle your own, get your own government in check with that paper and pen, and understand the steps and duties and obligations of your governmental officials and your obligations as a citizen. Civil rights, citizenship rights, whatever label or description you want to call it, it's called constitutional action behaviors. Government official not acting right, that's unconstitutional action behavior. Government officials, taxpaying servants, employees of the citizens, implementing their own belief opinions, that's not granted by the U.S. federal constitution. I'm talking about U.S. citizens. But this show is talking about Canadians going over to fight ISIS. I need to holler at some ISIS people. Had them come on over here and do this the right way under my jurisdiction, because the paperwork is already out there. Governmental officials and or et cetera, citizens, religious groups, private public societies and or et cetera has been warned. They have received my complaint of unconstitutional action behavior by their own brethren, society members, motorcycle organizations, ill-minded citizens of the city of Detroit, Wayne County, the United States, state of Michigan, and or et cetera. It's the same thing. You are a U.S. citizen under the U.S. federal constitution, Declaration of Human Rights. And if you want to go up under the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, as your satanic rituals, unconstitutional, uncivilized acts and behaviors violates that, whatever your religion, that's why I say, be careful what your religion is. Some people join the Muslims because they can marry more than one wife. But if you understand the King James Bible, you can marry more than one woman too. But it's not stressed, but it's in there. So for the people that I personally know and have heard of, I joined them because you can have more than one wife. In the King James Bible, you can have more than one wife as well. So you need to get your head out the gutter and understand you are being intentionally, deliberately brainwashed, and the government putting unconstitutional restrictions, labels on you that does not have anything to do with your obligations, duties. If you want to have more than one wife, it's a law that says you can't have more than one wife. It's a law that says you can unregister as a registered voter in the United States, but then they want to hold it against you, saying that you can't participate in your government, but we want your tax dollars, and we want you to participate in jury duty, and we want you to obey the law. But laws are created to suppress my human rights, to infringe on my liberties and freedoms. And then when I do them, like become an unregistered voter, they're gonna say, you can't participate in government as an elected official because you haven't voted for 4 years and all this and that. You have a law that says I can sign out. But in Clyde Darnell Lynch situation, there were circumstances that the government didn't know what they was doing, so I signed out.
We're going over to fight for us.
Now the time and date is 1:32 p.m. November the 23rd, 2014. Let me go back to this show.
And others aren't. If you want to text at me at 71010, you can do so at any time, like some people have done. One says on the text board, why should any Canadian who fights in a military action that's not sanctioned by the government be okay? Of course, it's wrong. Another one writes, no, we're a country of laws. They either operate under the Canadian Armed Services or they lose their citizenship. We're not a crazy country of militias. That's basically my question. Here it is. ISIS killing Iraqi and Kurd Muslims. Bad. Canadians killing ISIS Muslims. The Air Force over there. That's good. Canadian kids killing American invaders in Afghanistan. Well, they're terrorists. Omar Khadr. American invaders killing Afghans or Americans fighting with the Taliban. Good. Bad? I don't know. We've got Americans that were fighting on both sides of that one. Canadian peacekeepers. This is where it gets fun because I've been one of these guys before too. Canadian peacekeepers who stand by and watch Serbs kill Muslims in the former Yugoslavia. Is that good or bad? What about Muslims killing Croatians? What about Croatians killing Serbs? All of that was okay because they were peacekeepers. They were paid to watch. They weren't allowed to get involved. Talk about mental health issues. Whole bunch of soldiers came back from that with real problems. Western nations watching Germans kill Poles, French, gays, Jews, Roma. Well, I think we decided that was bad, and we decided to do something about it. What if Mr. Dillon, who's gone over there to fight with the Kurds in northeastern Iraq, what if he's fighting with Kurds who also happen to belong to the PKK, the Kurdish People's Party? They're a listed terrorist group. What if they not only kill ISIS terrorists, who we all agree are bad, but they happen to kill maybe people who are non-Kurds in Kurdish areas because they want to take them out of the Kurdish area to establish a state. Kurdistan is only a province. It's not a real country. When does the good become the bad? I want your advice, Ontario. 877-518-5151 is the number to call. Let's go to Alan in Essex and see if you can help me make some sense of this. Alan, are some people worth killing and others not?
Oh, that's kind of a that's kind of a dumb question. My only
comment on those
is okay, but I just want to say that I don't think the number of fatalities over there, what the Canadian forces are doing with their planes, I don't think the number of dead should ever be divulged to the public. That's going to get back to the ears of these non-life terrorists that are, the more when they hear that the Canadians are killing us, so we got to do more,
Right.
kill more Canadians. It's a no-brainer.
Keep the number secret. Thanks very much. Let's go to Saeem in Brampton. Is it okay to kill some people and not others?
But the main thing is, if we're going to go fight in other places, then why didn't we go to the United Nations or the Security Council and get authorization to actually authorize the use of force? We're just going there basically fighting an illegal war because we didn't get, Western democracies run on rule of law. The rule of law is you get authorization. Why didn't we do that?
Oh, but you're saying, though, if we had authorization, that some lives would be okay to kill.
That's why there's a checks and balances.
Right.
Right. That's what United Nations is. That's what legal bodies are.
The United Nations, though, passed a resolution many years ago that Canada actually contributed to writing called a responsibility to protect, that says that the world has a responsibility to go into countries that are poorly managed and protect their citizens against forces, even if those forces are their government or that their government's not doing anything about it. So one could argue that we're going in under that.
But the real issue is that how come we didn't solve the Syrian crisis? ISIS came out of the fact that people were upset that the Syrian solution wasn't resolved.
Yep, that's
and
true.
When the U.S. Withdrew from Iraq, there was a big vacuum, and then you got the Sunnis in the West that were basically oppressed for like 2 years. These two things contributed to the rise of ISIS out of nowhere.
But you're thinking, though, that what I'm hearing from you, though, is that there are definitely some times when killing these people or those people is the right thing to do.
What I'm saying is that there's a rule of law, like there's a justice system, there's a thing. If you go outside of that, then you're no better than what they're doing. They're operating outside of the rule of law.
Thanks very much, Saeem.
Now, that guy, he knew what he was talking about, but it didn't make no sense. He knew what he was talking about. And like I always have said since middle school, we need to check our own government first. Citizens of Detroit, DMCR. And I'll tell you what that means later on. It may already be a trademark name. DMCR. Now, we need Detroit citizens. We need to get together, draft all these different organizations. You can still be a member of your organization, but when this organization get formed, it's so simple and easy to do. It's all about the powers that be cooperation, private-public businesses. And if they want to say, oh, that's private information, we cannot give that to you. Well, your new technology interferes and going to contribute to people's demise. And I already spoke about it. The smart meters, the electronic frequencies harming people's bodies, any wireless cell phones and wireless connections in school, and all this experiment government doing on in schools. I wish I had an auto recorder on when I was at that community meeting, and a lady from out of town was talking about what they did in Ohio, experimenting on kids, and kids have health issues. And they say it's lawful. I'm just lying about that. But it is lawful for them to do experiments on their own people, that they use our own tax dollars and public-private businesses' donations to do experiments on their citizens. The most famous and infamous one of many is the simplest testing. That was tax dollars, governmental funded, grant money, private donations from organizations. What you think is in our food? Experimentational ingredients. What you think is in our water? Do you think the HARP system that is engineering the weather? People don't believe in it. And then people say don't believe what's on the internet. But people believe what's in their Bible. People believe what the masses believe and call it truthful and accurate information. Like I said, a guy told me, get you some flyers and go out in the North End, the district with the most populated citizens, and pass out your flyers. And I said to myself, if I hear somebody say that one more time to me, I'm gonna chop their head off. I didn't say nothing. I calmed myself down and said, that's what we had to do back in the old days when our grandparents was alive. Because the media and or et cetera didn't assist and participate in upholding our constitutional rights. We weren't even considered human beings. We weren't even considered 3/5 of a man. After slavery, we were just considered nothingness. There's something that paid taxes and contributed to the demise of your happiness, liberties, freedoms, because you're not even represented in the Constitution. Some people say we still not represented in the Constitution. And all I have to say to them, there you go, being a lobbyist, a unpaid lobbyist that's aiding and abetting the powers that be and or et cetera demise of humanity. I can't say it in so many words with my limited vocabulary. I'm so tired of the same people saying the same protocols, and that's constructive criticism I'm giving you. You just discredit me, fool. That's that word that they put out there, that phrase, so we can be bickering amongst each other. You have an opinion, you have an opinion, I have an opinion. And then when I say something, somebody put something out and say, oh, this person did the same thing what you just saying, but they ain't saying nothing, but they talking amongst a group. And I'm like, it ain't about the other person. It's about the person I'm talking to right now, because the other stuff we already know about. But if this man doing the same thing with other people doing, and he supposed to be for us, President Obama, there ain't nothing else to talk about. We getting messed up in the game, and our own tax dollars is doing it. Even if our private public businesses make legal profits by the citizens buying purchasing necessities that they need and or leisure items, that's legitimate. But I'm going to say so-called legitimate profits. Then they donated to this, that, and the other, and or et cetera, to violate our human rights. You can't say it, and somebody else can say the same thing and put it in a better arrangements of words than I just did. And some people already have said it. But like when I was talking to the bus driver, and I said, he was saying, yeah, everybody had different ideas. Just got to get together, put it in one big ball of wax, and mold it to something that we all can agree upon. The only thing I'm going to say, and he was correct, and anybody else that said the same thing, you are correct. But one thing, that 1%, and some people are missing 2%, that 1% that you are missing is that you do not understand and or know the U.S. federal Constitution. That's the bottom line. And if you do know it, you're going to conflict with other people's so-called consciousness, but the only thing you have to implement and put together is already there for us. Even you say, oh, the Constitution wasn't made for us. We ain't got to go there. You don't have to say that. You're talking more, making more barriers, and you are being a perfect, successful, dysfunctionally programmed individual lobbyist for the power to be to keep us ununified, not unified. Once you realize that, it don't say things like what I just said. Well, the Constitution ain't for us. We all know that. You don't have to say it. But if you want to say it to sound intelligent or to bring up a valid point where the other person just destroyed everything you just said, and you want to try to redeem yourself, in my opinion, you just making me more upset. But I calm myself down and control myself and say another little statement, whatever, blow you out the water again with my limited vocabulary, but I am successful with blowing people out the water, making them catch the Holy Ghost. Or just saying I'm a fool for saying what I was saying because I misinterpreted the shock and awe of them catching the Holy Ghost of the statement I just said. So now all I'm going to say is citizens have been intentionally and deliberately, dysfunctionally programmed, brainwashed, herded, and implementing the powers that be protocol that keep us spinning our wheels. You want to sign some more petitions? Some petitions are needed. Some petitions are unnecessary. Some petitions are necessary, but it will not go anywhere or do anything because it can't be followed through. And I'm not saying nothing about what I'm involved in. I'm just talking about other things I see that I be out here and people talking about petition to do all this and that. The next minute, 3 months later, it's on the TV being dissed and saying that's a fraudulent and fake and blah, 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 blah. And that's why people don't like signing petitions. That's why we have a hard time getting the signatures for petition. But you already signed your petition, your birth certificate, by your mother or doctor or adoption agency and or et cetera. You signed your contract as a limited sovereign to participate and obey in the U.S. federal constitution, and the government has violated that with the signing of the birth certificate. You don't have to join no black club community, no organization, none of that, because you are a U.S. citizen for number one. You are the skin you in, the name you was given when you was born. You are a Detroit resident. You are a Wayne County resident. You are a Michigan resident. You do not have to join no more organization because that U.S. federal constitution is the only paper you need. And if the powers that be in or settle don't obey it and double talk and intentionally deliberately brainwash and herd you to make profits, create numbers to make profits, profits is the result of creating numbers, and numbers equal profits, which may be fraudulent numbers and profits to make profits by the fraudulent numbers they created to be profitable. And we just buy into it. Technology is one of them. It need to be limited, and they're just making profits off the unique little gadgets they give us every so many 6 months. We just buying into it, and those little gadgets going to be later on used to violate our freedoms and liberties. So the seed has been planted. Technology. They can track you on your cell phone. Then the technology give out wireless, microwave frequencies, and or set of the harms your natural body frequencies, along with the ingredients in food, the chemicals in the water, air, and or et cetera, in your clothes, hygiene products, and or et cetera. I'm out.